Eurobond. The financial experts say the government is not overspending its EMT targets. And to help us analyze the first year's performance and perhaps the road ahead, I've been joined by two people and one on the phone lines. For in the studio, I have with me Matthias Alabo, who is a Baltimore Regional Youth Organizer with the NDC. Good morning, Matthias. Welcome.
Good morning, brother.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes. And seated right next to him is George Isi, who is the former Admiral Communications Director and also with the Communications Team member for the MPP. Mr. Isi, good morning. And Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah, many happy returns.
How are you all doing today?
We're good.
We're good. Yes, and on the phone we're joined by Dr. Maham, who is an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Yes. So we want to begin our conversation. We want to delve right into it, talking about his economic performance thus far. And Matthias, what do you make of the president's economic performance so far when it comes to power?
I should have begun by wishing our cherished viewers a happy New Year. But just yesterday we had a sad news that in also East we've lost one of our MPs, the MP for also East. So I want to use the opportunity to extend my sincere condolences to the family and to the fraternity of the NDC and Ghanaians in general. And then, of course, to go ahead to wish the Ghanaian people, especially our cherished viewers, prosperous New Year. Yes, the economy of Ghana today clearly is in a better footing than it was 2 years ago. 2024. And when we want to more or less appraise the performance of the government in the past year, it's always important to look at what the situation was like. And clearly, we all know that by December 2024, we have an economy that's in a chokehold position with inflation triggering around 23%, with interest rates more or less inching above 30%, making it very difficult for businesses to attract capital to expand and then improve on their operations. And of course, as Asimesi would have said, that if the fundamentals are weak, you check the exchange rate. And at the time, we all know what the situation was like. But then the Ghanaian people went to the polls and then decided that they need a paradigm shift, and for which reason they voted so overwhelmingly for the NDC and His Excellency the President, who has a trusted pair of hands. And he promised that he will reset Ghana, our economy. And I can say without a shadow of doubt, and to provide the ironclad assurance to the Ghanaian people that what we witnessed in the past year has been an economy that went through reset. Because we went through reset and then we began growth. Because when you take inflation, that was hovering around 23%. By the third quarter of last year, 2025, this has moved down to about 6.1%. And you see many other sectors, including finance, agriculture, especially the cocoa sector led by Dr. Randy Abbey, making a remarkable turnaround that contributes to about 7.5% to GDP growth. And this strong economic recovery generally is triggered by broad-based support, and also because you have a commander-in-chief that have the absolute political will and throw his weight behind two key people. That's the finance minister, Dr. Kisato Forsen, and the governor of the Bank of Ghana, whose fiscal discipline, stringent monetary reforms, economic reforms today, the confidence in the Ghanaian economy has rebounded. Of course, the IMF support actually contributed also in giving confidence in bringing investor confidence to the Ghanaian people. But largely, where we are now, we're in a better footing. And there are many concerns that by the time Ghana exits the IMF, whether we'll go back to the normal ways of life. And I can say on authority that the NDC as a government have always been nationalistic, and we think about Ghana and Ghana alone. and there will not be any physical indiscipline that will plunge our economy back into the abyss from which we came from. So, in a nutshell, I will say that today we're in a better footing. The bad things in the past that has brought us where we are will ensure that it's under lock and key, not the kind of lock and key that the city was subjected to and then it broke jail, but the lock and key that is triggered by deliberate state policy to ensure that there's discipline, there's fiscal discipline, we don't overspend because you spend what you have. You don't go and sign contracts. So with the new Financial Management Act, though as painful as it may be, it is helping to put the economy in shape. And I can say that from where we stand, the government of the day is doing very well.
Right.
And there's a remarkable turnaround, and our economy is in a better footing.
Thank you so much. MCC, do you agree?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you, my brother Jay Gabra, and my brother Matthias, and your production crew. Good morning to our viewers. Ghana's economy, as of the time we were leaving office, we all basically for Ghanaians to decide we need to give way for the NDC to come. And we all know that these are hinged on exogenous factors, which exogenous factors we've tackle COVID, and we talk about Russia, Ukraine, and all that. Incidentally, our opponent disagreed with us consistently internally, but when they went out there at Harvard University, at the United Nations, they admit that indeed it was a factor. In fact, truth be told, in one of the IMF reports, they admitted that it really affected the Ghanaian economy. And so that is something that we cannot run away from. Yes, as of the time we were leaving office, the Forex was about 14.72 to the dollar. That's the CDs to the dollar. And as we speak, I think it's around 10.6 or thereabout. That's the latest. Because
it says here 10.3 and then 10.9.
Yeah, so within that average.
Yeah, within the average.
Yes, because government has consciously and deliberately decided to support our forex with over $10 billion injection into the economy to soar up the city, and that's the deliberate government policy because of the gold board investments that is being made. Yes, we agree that the gold board idea, domestic gold purchasing program, was mooted by the MPP administration, and so fortunately that's the good aspect that I'll commend the government on. They thought it was prudent and very important for our economic march forward and decided to sustain it, and that's the gold board issue. Inflation, when we were leaving, inflation was about 23.2, 23.8.
Let's make it 23%.
Yes, 20. So inflation targeting policy by the government, and I think it's on course because, Gray, we know that no major investment is being made as far as infrastructure is concerned, as far as payment of contractors is concerned, as far as major governmental programs are being rolled. It's a one road that government actually instructed that payment be made instructively. They had promised contractors they were going to release payment before Xmas. I stand to be told, but I had a lot of contractors saying the money is yet to hit their accounts.
But I know for the how do you call it, the Abadi Road, for instance, they are also finishing that stretch as well.
That's okay. So have they released monies and co? Because some of them were, the commissioning and the commitments were done, even motorway, by the previous government before it, and then payment will be done in the course of the administration of this government. So, but until now, one of the reasoning for it, what is important is the 2026 budget is made projections, which I'm very happy with, particularly the big push. It's something that, funding is going to be geared towards developmental projects there in the infrastructure space, road infrastructure.
Yeah,
so yes, that's the big push. So that is forward-looking that I think we need to commend government. As of now is about 18%. I think it's not bad because that is the basis for the interest rates to be set by the commercial banks and co. So if it's around 18%, though it's on the high side if you compare to other international bodies or banks, central banks, because of the experience we've had and where we've come from, I think it's not too bad. What it tells you is
I
that
believe at the beginning of the year was around 28%,
yeah,
so coming down to 18%.
So
Is that not a good thing?
Yes, that's what I say. Okay. It's good.
Okay.
You know, that's what I'm saying. But if you compare in the sub-region and internationally, it's not the best because we know other places where interest is going around 3 to 4%. You get it? And so if ours is at this, for the central bank, that's the MPR rate, and then the commercial banks are going to come in, and business people, entrepreneurs and co, there's going to be, because, most of our fundings and co, government is always doing the auctioning, okay, at the BOG level to take the T-bills for, sometimes oversubscribed, sometimes undersubscribed, and all that. I think the latest one was oversubscribed by 0.2 or thereabout. You get it. So it gives money liquid for government to be able to prosecute is a trade properly situated. Last one, J. Gabra, I will speak of the reserves. Is very important. Okay. The reserve, when we were living, it was about 8.9 billion. As we speak, I understand it's about 11 billion. They're building it gradually.
Which of the reserves are you referring to?
Oh, the government reserve, the treasury. Okay. Reserves are the treasury. Central bank, yes, treasury. It's important because when you are doing economic analysis, these are all very important indices or indicators to be able to accept that, yes, government is on course.
Dr. Mohammed is on the line, so
yes. Your reserve is important and it ties into your economic trajectory. So let's leave the doctor to come in.
Yes, and I'm sure Matthias would like to respond to a few things you said.
Yes,
but
okay.
Before that, let me join Dr. Mohammed, who is an economist. Hello, sir. Dr. Mohammed. I believe we lost Dr. Mohammed. Just before he comes back, I'd like to speak to Matthias a bit. Matthias, you heard Mr. AC. Would you, for instance, saying he hasn't seen any money being pushed into productive sectors, for instance? I saw a little face change there. I don't know. I'll give you about a minute to give us.
No problem.
As we are getting Dr. Mohammed back on the line to respond to that. Yeah.
Largely today, my brother has been very gentle. Except that the mischief never really leaves. It is not true that the government is not spending. What the government is not doing is to continue on the same tangent of being reckless and make projections and spend money that you do not have.
That's what you think?
Yes, absolutely. When the government said, President Maham gave the order that $1 billion cedis should be shared to subcontractors before Christmas, he did not say that every contractor in Ghana is being paid. The fact of the matter is that contractors that have worked prior to the coming to power of the previous regime, a lot of them were home for 8 years. The government of the day, Akufo-Addo's regime, never paid them a dime. So the backlog of the amount of money owed by government of Ghana to contractors, it is not one that can be settled in a day. You see, when you say you're not spending, don't forget that in an 8-year period, we have amassed debt on the neck of this country for about 720 billion. Do you know what happened? Just a while back, the finance minister was able to pay $709 million debt refinancing.
For the Eurobond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we paid. Did you know what happened? It's because one of the things, so we are not here to celebrate ourselves that we have turned Ghana around in terms of solving all the developmental needs overnight. We took economy from the grave, and they gave it back life and nourished that economy. And the economy is gradually coming back on its foot.
Okay.
And let us celebrate the fact that the currency stability, that through the deliberate efforts of the Governor Bank of Ghana and the Finance Minister, today Did you know 5 billion Ghana cedis just by disciplining ourselves and keeping the city in check alone?
The doctor is back on the line.
Okay.
I'm sure Mr. Isi would like to respond to the backlog when it comes to the debt and all that. But let me speak to Dr. Mohammed. Yes. I'll come back to you. Yes. So, Dr. Mohammed, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, stop it.
Hello, Dr. Mohammed. Hello, good morning, sir. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to you, sir, and thank you for joining us this morning. Yeah, so far the conversation, we are assessing the president's first year in terms of economic performance, and we'd like to take your opinion on that, especially when it comes to inflation, debt management, and perhaps in terms of growth as well.
The last notice.
Yes, Doc, can you, if you can hear me, I'm asking, we are assessing the president's first year in terms of economic performance. So we'd like to hear your opinion, perhaps, when it comes to inflation, debt management, and growth.
The line is not clear.
Okay, Doc. So when you're assessing the president's first year, when it comes to inflation, growth,
Okay.
and economic and debt management, what would you say?
I still have challenge but there's a big part.
Yeah, so inflation, debt management, and growth.
Okay. All right. So if I get to you want to assess whether the government has been able to achieve its inflation target, the debt is etc.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think fairly, if you look at the debt level of the country, I think that there has been a marginal difference in the debt level because of the application of the CB, and also the fact that the government is not very in the market, especially in the international extra market.
Okay.
But if you look at the local market, there has been a significant rate of growth. And the program for this year is going to be a bit higher, because if you look at it clearly, you will notice that the interest payment alone is over 50 billion Ghana cedis, which means that government is having to program to borrow more money in the domestic market, because they are paying about 50 billion Ghana cedis in terms of interest rates in the domestic market.
Okay.
The international market is about 7 billion, which means that more of the money is going to be borrowed in the local market. Now, on the inflation front, I think there's been a significant reduction in the inflation rate. So if you look at it from the end of year 2024, it was about 23.8%.
Yeah.
And now we are moving around 6.3%, which means that there's been a significant reduction in the inflation rate. But the question that many will ask is that, has it really reflected in the life of the city? Has prices come down drastically? These are the things that many people will be asking. And I want your listeners to understand that a decrease in inflation does not necessarily bring down. That's deflation. So what we are experiencing currently is deflation. Inflation was about 4.7% somewhere in 2022. Then it drastically came down to about 26.8% at the end of 2024. And now we are about
6%. Yeah.
And the program for December has not yet come out. So the inflation December comes out, we are likely to have maybe better global inflation. And I think some analysts have put it at the rate of 5.7%. So on the front of these fundamentals, we observe that the government has really been in the CDP. If you look at this, the program that the government has was growth about 3.7% projected. I think 3.2%. But they've been able to achieve, as of October, about 4.4% growth rate, which means that there has been a significant progress in that fund.
Okay.
But whether the CDP has really reflected in the lives of the people, is still something that many are still asking. So I think that there is still more room for improvement when it comes to the transformation in terms of all translating things into the lives of the people.
But Doc, when you mentioned the fact that when in terms of appreciation of the CD against the dollar, you mentioned deflation, the fact that when people ask the question, are we feeling it in our lives? Is that a good thing? Perhaps goods and services remain at the same level. If they are not going up, perhaps that's a good thing. Would you agree?
Oh, why is the network?
Hello, Doc.
Yeah.
Yes, earlier you mentioned the fact that even though the CD is appreciating against the dollar, we should call it deflation, because inflation rates earlier were like 23%, before now coming to 6%. And perhaps if people are asking the question, can we feel it in our pockets? But I'm also asking, if goods and services, the prices of goods and services are the same level, is that a good thing or not?
Okay, that's why I want to do that. You can have a decrease in inflation, but that doesn't mean that prices are going to come down drastically.
Okay.
It's a basket of goods and services that they are suffering from. So if a particular good and service rate has come down, it doesn't mean that in that basket, every good and service rate has really fallen down. No, that's not the case.
Okay. All right.
So you don't expect that inflation is down and something like that. You are going to have an absolute good living standard, but it's a better to be able to ensure that our living standards are a bit higher.
All right. So, Doc, I'll come back to you so we can speak about the Finance Ministry, the Minister of Finance, and perhaps the Gold Board as well. But for now, I'd just like to speak to my CEO guest, Mr. AC. Just before I spoke to Dr. Matthias was talking about debt recovery from perhaps 720 million, and the backlog of debt that perhaps the government is spending money on to pay back. And I noticed you had a reaction to that, so I just want to give you perhaps 2 minutes to respond, and then we can continue with
okay. Because I touched on the fact that government is not embarking on any major developmental projects as of the 2025 budget, and so that does not, inject a inflation measurement level. Price increases is about the rate of rise, as is explained. So if major development projects are not ongoing, and then debts that are there that you claim you have inherited, you're not paying them, okay, as you promised, definitely there's not going to be liquidity or fluidity amongst the Contractors Association. And for the records, Gabra, my brother, governments inherit debts. You get it. Every government. By the time the NDC government leaves office, there'll be a debt portfolio that will be there. So you have to, pay them. But your commitment to paying them and the rate of payment is very important. Okay, and we know for a fact that some ministries are not too excited about the finance minister because he's not making releases. Okay, we are just praying that because of the projection, and as I indicated earlier, the big push and other ancillary projects that they've assured the Ghanaian people, there will be these releases for liquid to be in the system, for young people to get jobs and all that. You get it? So yes, but that pales into insignificance in a country whose 2026 budget is about 330 billion in expenditure terms, right? So 709 less than a billion, it pales into insignificance. And so you cannot use that as the justification for spending. But we need the government to rise up, be robust, and begin to, spend. That's why I said I was excited by the big push. When I see the number of road infrastructure that they've projected they're going to do, it's good. It's good. That will then bring development, and then we inject liquid into the system.
So in your
That's
view,
very
what do
important.
you make of it?
Stabilization objective. The 2025 budget and what was expended was to stabilize the system. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's not right, because we needed, we were in a very difficult situation as of December 2024. You get it? Yeah. And so any government taking over will want to steady the economic environment, stabilize the environment. And the good news was that this government had the goodwill from Ghanaians, that goodwill, and they've actually been able to swim along with it, even though we know certain things. Initially, I thought we were going to be talking about the general performance of the government for the 2025. What I had was the general performance of
if time permits,
we'll chronicled a lot, but fortunately we zero in on the economy, and I'm good with that. So these are issues that I think they've tried to be careful, stabilize the environment, and then take off in 2026. So that, I think is good. They needed to look at the economy properly and its shape and structure and see how they are going to make it robust and take off so that all Ghanaians will be carried along.
Thank you
but
so
for
much.
Now, 2025, it's good. As Dr. said, they need to be sure of what they are doing and then do it properly. And I give that to them.
Yeah, so just before I go back to Dr. Matthias, what's your take on that, the Ministry of Finance and perhaps the Bank of Ghana when it comes to the stabilization of the city and all that?
Yeah.
What would you make of their performance? We haven't gotten there.
I just want to commend my brother for actually admitting that though government is spending, we are spending wisely. Yeah. It is not the case
so in like 30 seconds on this, so I can make the main point. Yes, because Doc is still on the line.
So there are many other positives. There are many. Look, I was trying to I just brought in the fact that we took advantage of the strong performance of the city to pay the maturing Eurobond debt of 709. Did you know how much savings we've made? We've made 3.5 billion cedi savings. Based on Fitch predictions about the way we behave naturally. Fitch was predicting that our cedi dollar ratio would have been some 50.1. That would mean I would have been using about 11 billion to pay that money. But because of the fiscal discipline, the economic consolidation, and how tight the governor of Bank of Ghana and the finance minister work to ensure that indiscipline is cut off the system, to ensure that money only goes to where it ought to go. Look, what have we done? We use 7.5 billion. We use 7.5 billion instead of 11 billion. That saves 3.5 billion. Ask me, free SHS for this year. No, I mean in that paying.
I want to understand.
Yeah, he's explaining. That's why he was going to the free SHS.
Yes, I'm explaining that.
Yeah, that's why he's
I'm explaining that with the seven.
Let's understand it.
Yeah, I'm explaining that we paid $709 million US dollars in Eurobond loans. And how much did we spend? We spent 7.5 billion instead of 11 billion Ghana cedis. Why? Because Fitch, based on the predictive nature of our misbehavior, how we mismanage the economy, predict that the exchange rate would have been around 15 point something. But because of the fiscal discipline and the deliberate effort of the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Pandit Johnson Esiama and the finance minister, the payment was done at the exchange rate of 10.6. That saves us 3.5 billion. And what I'm trying to say in effect is that the cascading effect of that is that the stability of the city alone has brought about a lot of consolidation of the economy and to $1 to purchase or to import. Now you use about 10.6. Are you getting me? That brings about a lot of savings into your pocket. No, at
a cost of $10.2 billion, which otherwise would have been released into other sectors.
Otherwise,
that's what you are using to hold the city.
We don't use.
The economist is on the line. He's going to speak to that. So it's not in abeyance.
Yes. So you see,
it's not in abeyance.
So the reality is that President Maham's 1 year in office has been one of a remarkable turnaround for our economy. It has been the central bank to the finance ministry. And of course, you said
Gold
we're going to talk about the gold board. Look, you can't have this discussion and take out the significant contribution of the gold board.
Some believe it has been quite effective when it comes to free fall of the CD in last year.
The governor of the Bank of
you agree with that?
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Joseph Siama, never hid from this. He said, "What are the things we should do? It's not just about regulatory reforms. What you need to do is that plug the loopholes in the mining sector, the smuggling of gold out of this country. That's some people benefit in billions of dollars over the past 8 years. Plug it by the gold board, by constituting the gold board and ensuring that no gold leave this country without passing through the central bank that buys on behalf of the government of Ghana. We have saved this country a lot of money. Are you getting me? So we cannot sit down here to say that the consolidation of the city did not happen because of Gold Board. Gold Board has been so instrumental as well. Apart from the regulatory reforms, the fiscal policy issues, Gold Board should not be demonized. We should celebrate it.
All right. Thank you.
Before you go to the economists, look, what I've said, Gold Board originally is the idea of the MPP administration. Right. That's the domestic gold purchase program. It was a deliberate program. Okay, when one of the multinational companies in Ghana, when things were difficult to get forex, okay, they met the then vice president, and then in the engagement, the vice president, in his ingenuity, asked, "Is there a way we can give you gold instead of the forex?" And they said, "Yes, they're cool." And bingo, they decided, okay, gold for oil, and then gold purchase program.
I remember you mentioned
yes,
this.
Yes. So these are issues, and I'm happy that this government thought it prudent to continue with our policy. You get it, and that is one very ounce. It's there, international visited office, and so these are all advantages to them. And I'm not saying going to take that away once the international market is stable. Okay, and they've also embarked on a stable, economic program for the 2025 year. That is what has tied in, and it's good for all of us. You get it?
So it's not just their work alone; it's together with the international market.
Of course, but you live in a global world. When we were speaking of exogenous factors and and they were saying, no, yes, they impacted. Okay, and true. It is proper and tried knowledge that the staff agreement program by the IMF, we had led by the then finance minister, the Honorable Dr. Amina Anta. You get it? So we had met the benchmarks. Okay, first agreement, second going. Again, the domestic DDEP, debt program was also on course. Okay? If you saw the timetable, the arrangements and we had 2026, 2027, 2028 payments and all that. Okay? And so they are all in place, and the government that is taking over will then go by the program. You get it? So that is something that I'm happy that, yes, we are not overly, going overboard. And last one, J. Gabra. The then governor, Dr. Addison, said it when some of us were agitating that, look, this exchange rate thing, we're going into election, can't we do something? But the medium to long-term effect is going to be dire for the country, okay? That's what I'm saying. When he said he saved something, I'm saying, look, you have used 10.2 billion to sow the CD, to make it strong. You get it? Yes. What I'm saying, and I'm happy you have an economist on the line, what it means is that you are denying other sectors the possibility of the use of this money for development or infrastructure investment and development. You get it? Because you need to use it to protect this one. Okay? Otherwise, if you had released it to the road ministry, okay, if you had released it to other sectors of the economy, they would then be using it for productive ventures such as road construction, infrastructure construction.
You'll
be holding on with that for some time, so that the economy itself will take shape and then be able to hold the CD against the dollar on its own without any injection. I use the term artificial on a platform, and my friends were not happy that I used the term artificial. You get it? Artificial injection of the dollar to make the CD strong. You get it? But it's all economic matter. Once it made the important market or the business environment a bit stable, we are cool. So we can then take a new direction and build on
so
with
to finish,
the introduction of development programs.
Yeah, so to finish up your point, one thing a lot of people are concerned about is when it's job creation and the fact that unemployment is worrying a lot of people. So perhaps what's your outlook on that, or how would you say the president does that last year?
I think last year, because it was a drive to stabilize the economy, their focus was not much on that. And I agree. They needed to build and so you need to know your exchequer and know, okay, we have this, we are going to be able to embark on this to create a job. In the budget, I think he mentioned there's going to be created about 800,000 jobs or so. I stand to be corrected. You get it. And the finance minister gave the areas that they are going, and mostly is on the road infrastructure sector. A lot of people going to get, these are temporary jobs and cool. But I thought, all of us, especially those of us in the New Patriotic Party, we thought that they're going to focus on the 133, the 24-hour economy, okay, which was the promise to the Ghanaian youth. And then the coding system and cool. I don't know, there's been mentioning there. But 24-hour economy, I stand to be corrected, Matthias. Commitments in budgetary terms is about 110 million. Okay, in the 2026 budget.
No, that's what I think the 100 million is for the coders program.
Yes.
And then 300 million for apprenticeships and 1.5 billion.
It's for the 24, I think the 24-hour economy, I stand to be correct. And that is not bold enough because that is their flagship program.
But the 24-hour economy is also in there.
Yes, that's their flagship program. Okay, and if you target just 110 million, it tells me it is not your major, especially, and infrastructure, they've targeted over 33 billion, thereabout, okay? And your major flagship program, it tells me the government's commitment to job creation is near to zero, okay? Because those are permanent jobs we are talking about. That was the 133 and co. They are permanent jobs that excited the youth of this country. Okay? But you're saying they're going to do temporary jobs a la construction sector. We need it, yes. But for how long? Long distance, about 171 kilometers.
The coders, the apprenticeships.
Yes, we need
the
all
agriculture
those
sector.
Yes, we need all those. Yes, that Greek sector is, I think, is showing some hope that youth will be captured in there. We want that to happen so that the young people, let's excite their interest in agriculture. You get it? A lot of people have done agric at the degree level, and yet they don't. I think they should continue with that so that it will engender that excitement among the youth that if we invest in agriculture, there's going to be dividends or good returns for all of us.
Thank
you
so
get
much,
whilst the nation, we build the nation along.
Thank you so much, Ntesi. So, Matthias, job creation and solving the unemployment issue.
Thank you. So it is important to note that when we talk of the 24-hour economy, I think this thing has been explained time without number. 24-hour economy is not one giant building set up to create jobs for Ghanaians to move in. It's about stimulating the economy, bringing about reforms that will stimulate and engender 24-hour around-the-clock industrial production.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So, for instance, when we talk about the road sector, of course, the big push is intended to, in the next 2 years, the big push alone should be receiving about 32 billion Ghana cedis. And that means that in the service sector, in the commerce sector, it's going to have a cascading effect. Apart from those working on the field, and I have seen contractors working 24 hours around the clock before. That means that while machines are functioning 24 hours around the clock, the human beings that operate them alternate on 8-hour basis. So instead of one man doing 8 to 5 and going home, they do shift. So you have 3 people working around 24 hours around the same kind of work to increase the output in terms of not only the job, but the number of people that are employed.
That's what they're arguing about, Mr. He's arguing about, the fact that, so that's like 2 to 3 years, and after that, what happens?
No. So don't look...
You are speaking about the 24-hour economy.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like, so now we're running 3 shifts, we are building the road, it's like, after that, what happens to those who are employed?
We have never stated anywhere that the big push is going to be the only area where we are creating jobs. Okay. Government's commitment to ensure that we incentivize youth participation in agriculture. It's very important. You just mentioned the amount of money that has been pushed there.
Yes.
Look, this is one area.
1.5
Exactly.
yes.
This is one area that have the potential to create jobs for tens of thousands of Ghanaian youth. And government, so when we talk of Akoko Nkiti, is one area to incentivize the young people to taste it and see the benefit that comes with agriculture. And when they begin to benefit and it brings money into their pocket, the support systems that exist, which will be evolving, will then be able to build their capacity to expand and go to various productive sectors of the agricultural value chain. That's what it means, is that government of Ghana spend about how much? 60% of our revenue on salaries alone. And government is not saying that when we want to create jobs, government is going to employ these people and pay their salary until they go on pension. We are told, government
Sorry.
Government should be government basic role is to create enabling environment for the private sector to drive. So when we talk of Akoko Nkiti, it is not government that is doing it for you. We are empowering the Ghanaian to take his destiny into his own hands. Okay.
So, Matthias, I'm sorry I have to. Yes. I'm sorry I cut you at this point, but it's like going. So this year, for instance, what's your economic outlook? If you can give it to us in just a minute, I appreciate you.
The economic outlook for this year is one that is very positive. It is one that is growth oriented. It is one that the Ghanaians should celebrate in, because why? We'll continue to be disciplined in terms of our monetary policy decision makings. Government is intending that money will go to his own hands to not only employ him. We talk of the apprenticeship program, we talk of the Ejumara program, that is the National Entrepreneurial and Innovation Program. It is about creating captains of industry.
So it's like your minute is up.
It is about creating captains of industry for tomorrow. So all I can say is that we're on a good footing, and better things are yet to come.
All right, Mr. EC, what would you say are some of the key factors that will drive economic growth this year?
I foresee government going and borrowing because to be able to meet their targets, because the revenue targets they've set, I've heard the minority also say it's difficult for them to meet, because the 2025 target, they couldn't meet it. And so we're looking at how they're going to be able to meet the 2020, and then something juxtaposed with the expenditure rate of about 330 billion. Bold, but then how's the revenue? So the gap then would need to be, you need to fill. So going up. And last one, the minority in parliament is called for a bipartisan committee to investigate the gold ball losses. 214 million.
I thought you said they didn't have any losses.
There are no losses.
Don't worry. That's what I would say. That's a press conference from the government. So the data is there. Let the committee look at it. Otherwise, we are doing our those will have to be your final word.
Yes.
So the bipartisan committee for gold board investigation. If you are buying gold at selling at 4,000, and we're looking at the aggregators as well.
Any genuine person, I am inviting any genuine person who wants to understand the gold board and its operations to go to Facebook wall of Koshi Jokoto.
I want to thank you so much, Matthias Alabo, who is the Water, and we are joined on the line by Dr. Jabri Mohammed, who is an economist at the University of Ghana Business School. Thank you, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you once again. Yes. We'll be back right after this.